On the health care, I understand you co-sponsored a bill, Republican alternative to the health care spending bill. What do you believe the federal government's role is or should be in health care?
Well, there's no question that we do need to take some reforms of the healthcare system relative to accessibility of health insurance, affordability of health insurance, and portability of health insurance. But the approaches that I've advocated and what I think we get a lot of actually bipartisan support are not government-based solutions where you add another 100 bureaucracies and you give federal government more power to decide what day-to-day services people get, but more market-based solutions. There's a great bill that the small business community, again, is very supportive of that allow them to pool together on a statewide basis as small business owners and as self-employed people to purchase health insurance outside of the geographical region that they're currently in, which is the current restriction of the system. Allow them to purchase health insurance in statewide pools and eventually nationwide pools where they cross state lines and get the best, as consumers, the best deal based on volume that they possibly can. That's a non-government, private sector, consumer-driven approach that I think would go a long way in making health insurance more competitive, the rates more competitive, and give those business owners opportunities to purchase health insurance at a lower cost. I also think there needs to be tort reform. You cannot talk seriously about health care reform without talking about tort reform. We're in the majority. We passed medical liability reform on 3 separate occasions, went over to the Senate, and as you can imagine, the filibuster rule. At that point, the Democrats were filibustering on that issue, so we never got it to President Bush for signature. But that doesn't mean we can't and shouldn't keep trying. We spend about $100 billion a year in our economy on defensive medicine. Doctors adding extra prescriptions, extra tests, extra MRIs, extra CAT scans. That's something everybody else picks up in our society as a way of a cost. We have to have strong tort reform legislation if we're going to be truly successful in dealing with health care reform. So, purchasing across state lines, tort reform legislation, those are 2 of the key components of something I think you'd see us move forward with.
Why does the Republican proposal cost $300 billion?
Well, I'm not sure how they costed that out, to tell you the truth.
Right. Because you gave me that number before, right?
Yeah, that's the Paul Ryan proposal that he put forward, I'm not sure what the cost basis of all that is. So I get that information for you if you'd like to have it.
Illegal aliens, illegal immigration. How would you address the illegal alien problem in the U.S.?
Well, I guess a 2-pronged approach. Number one, while there's been a lot of progress on trying to shut down or restrict access across our southern borders by increasing by a couple thousand the Border Patrol agents we have along there, more electronic surveillance, and that's reduced the numbers of folks coming across. It certainly hasn't stopped the number of people coming across, but continue to ratchet up electronic surveillance as well as human capability to deal with that. That's one way to stop that continuing problem. And then for those that are here illegally, the 12 to 15 million, whatever the number is, I first of all don't support amnesty. I think we have to understand the importance of the rule of law, and I don't support that. In fact, I've opposed efforts at amnesty. We do need to look where you have an illegal alien that's here today and has a job, the employer likes him or her at that job. I still think that person would need to go back to their home country of origin, have to go through some criminal background, a medical background check, have to go through a documentation process like anybody else that gets in line to come here through a legal process before they'd be able to come back to the United States and continue with their employment. So I think there ought to be a process for setting up what's called Ellis Island centers in these other countries and make folks, give them a certain period of time, that by that point, if they hadn't gone back to their home country of origin, gone through that process, then at that point they're picked up and they're sent home for good.
So what about the employers that hire the illegals? Would you support fines for those employers?
If they knowingly hire an illegal, absolutely. Absolutely. Now you got to be careful. Right now you have an electronic verification process that on some occasions where the employers used it, they put across the supposed Social Security number of the person that wants to get the job, came back electronically, that person's okay, that person's legal. Then it turns out that the person really wasn't legal. There you have an employer that used that process in good faith. No, that if they did what they should do in good faith, they shouldn't be penalized. But if they knowingly employ those without legal status, then there should be a very significant penalty, absolutely.
All right, I think that's all we have time for.
Okay. Well, good. Thank you.